Okay, Geometry OST review topic 8, right triangles in trigonometry. Again, I think this is very important stuff. I think you'll see a little bit of it on the state test, but it's not as represented as I think it should be. Now, understand that a lot of this stuff is on the formula sheet, right? So be aware of that. The one thing that is not on the formula sheet is the Pythagorean Theorem, right? The Pythagorean Theorem, they expect you to know and be well versed in, right? So if they're going to ask you a Pythagorean Theorem question, it's going to be more of a difficult question where like maybe you have to find the area. So maybe they give you like C and B, and you find the area of this triangle, so then you can find A using Pythagorean Theorem, and then use the 1/2 base times height area formula, right? Okay. Let me scroll down. The special right triangles, again, I don't think you'll see them, but they are on the reference sheet, right? So they are there on the formula sheet. Okay. Trigonometry. There will definitely be a handful of trigonometry questions. Now, again, they don't always make you solve for things. Sometimes they do. But a lot of times it's just using the ratios, which are on the state test formula sheet, right? So again, remember, so if angle A is my angle, that's the opposite side. The right angle always points to the hypotenuse, and then the third side is the adjacent side. So a couple things to remember. So first off, right, we can find the sine, cosine, and tangent of A and B in this picture. Notice that the sine of A is going to always equal the cosine of B. A and B are complementary angles. Complementary angles. They add up to 90 because three angles in a triangle add up to 180. This is 90, so these two have 90 between them. So they add to 90. So because when you label these pictures that the opposite and adjacent legs switch, so this is the opposite side to A, but it's now the adjacent side to B, right? This is the adjacent side to angle B, right? The sine of A is going to be the cosine of B. And the same thing here, the cosine of A will be the sine of B. So you got to remember that, right? There's always one or two questions about that. Okay. And then lastly, what if you're trying to find angle A, right? So say you know the sine of A equals, say the opposite leg is 3 over the hypotenuse, which is, I don't know, 7. To find angle A, you must use inverse trig. Angle A equals the inverse sine of 3 over 7. And again, this is just an exponent -1. You can do all this on the state calculator. Remember, it has to be in degree mode. If you use a handheld calculator, make sure your handheld calculator is in degrees. The state test calculator's default should be degrees. Okay. So again, trig, I would make sure I take an extra look at this. Now, the law of sines and cosines is not going to be on, so this will not be on there. This will not be on there. Those are extra topics. But then your applications will be, right? So I don't think the area formula is going to be on there involving trigonometry, but I know that angles of elevation and depression will be on there, right? So again, remember that when you're drawing angles of elevation and depression, they always involve a horizontal and a line of sight. So this, because it's opening up, would be your angle of elevation. And now, to draw your angle of depression, you have to then use a horizontal here in this line of sight. So horizontal and line of sight. So this angle here is your depression angle. A lot of people, because they draw, say they draw a tree, and then there's a person down here, they want to use this angle right there as the depression angle. But that's wrong, right? The angle of depression has to be formed by a horizontal and a vertical. This is the angle of depression, not that one. And it's very important you understand that because these are both horizontal, that the angles of elevation and depression are always congruent. All right, and there's topic 8.